you can be the blind leading the blind in this situation, okay? If you've never done cold calling, how are you gonna know if your ISA is doing a good job or a bad job, okay? You have to know how to convert these leads first, okay? How to convert a cold prospect, and it doesn't matter if it's expired FSBO or triple prospect, doesn't matter. Cold prospect, how to get them from inquiry into listing appointment into closed transaction.
Because the management and transparency is what's very important. So once you submit a referral, you're going to have your own Home Advantage account, and it's going to tell you where everything sits. So if you have 10 referrals that you've sent into the network, it's going to give you all 10 referrals. It's going to tell you every milestone that that client is sitting in, whether they're touring homes, whether they're in escrow. And you now can manage through the Home Advantage application as far as what your pipeline looks like for the referrals that you've sent. And so it's pretty sophisticated, and it's all click of a button, guys.
Good afternoon, LabCoatAgents. We are here after the first of the year. You know, it's one of our early webinars this year, and we're going to talk about how to make some money with an ISA. Specifically, how can you generate over 6 figures in 2023 using an ISA? So I'm going to reintroduce that because it looks like we were not live on Facebook. So let me try again. So welcome, LabCoatAgents. You know, technology has not changed, but apparently I forgot the technology has not changed. So we are now live on Facebook, and I want to introduce our webinar here with Gus with Power ISA. And today we're going to talk about how you can make over 6 figures, over $100,000 a year with an ISA. So I think it's a great thing and great opportunity. ISA is a hot topic. And, you know, so without any further ado, Gus, what do you got for us today?
Awesome. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate that. So yeah, you know, I get a question very often, right? So, you know, when people find out that I work in ISAs and I train ISAs and I've done this for a long time, the number one question people usually ask me, other than what headset they should use, that's a really common question for some reason. The second most common question is, what should they be doing for me, right? What activity is the highest value activity for an ISA to do for me, for my team? How can they most impact my business, right? So I've gotten this question often enough. I decided to make, a webinar about it and make a presentation, brand new presentation. You guys are doing the LCA premiere of this content, a presentation about this topic. How are the best ways to use an ISA? I came up with three powerful ways that you should be using an ISA to really bump up your business and add 100,000, 6 figures in GCI this coming year. And I'm going to show you examples of results people have actually gotten by using these tactics, right? These strategies. So it's not just going to be Gus's favorite ideas. It's things that I've seen in the wild in production, either through my clients or people that I know that are using ISAs at the highest level. So without further ado, let's jump into it. Let me share my screen. Hopefully this is going to work the way we want. Can you guys see that? Yep, looking good. Great, awesome, great. So let's jump right into it. First things first, a little bit about me. Gus, founder of Power ISA. We've at this point hired, trained, managed hundreds upon hundreds of ISAs, 200 just in the last 12 months. Help place them with teams. And our biggest model right now is finding experienced call center folks, getting them placed into real estate teams with real estate agents, and they're working for them directly for anywhere from $5 to $6 an hour. That's our most popular model right now. Okay, so been around the block, have been doing this for a pretty long time, have helped about 1,300 real estate agents, loan officers, and investors with their ISA needs. Okay, awesome. So what are we talking about today? Already mentioned it. I'm going to go really briefly, because you guys are, if you're on this webinar, I'm hoping you are a ISA connoisseur like Brian. Brian's an ISA connoisseur. I know he's built a big team, use the ISA model. And Brian and Dale coach every week. If you don't see that, check out Cash Talk. It's a great show. And they're talking, a lot of times they talk about ISA scripts and ISA stuff. So if you want to take your team to the level that Brian has, I think you should leverage the ISA model. And we're going to be talking about my recommendation 1, 2, and 3 about how you should be using your ISA to get the highest level of results, talking about converting internet leads. And we're going to get specific about how you should do that step by step, what your ISA should do. We're going to be talking about cold prospecting. What are the biggest opportunities in cold prospecting right now that an ISA can help you with? And I'm going to propose a different model than most people are using with their ISAs. And a little bit of a change of pace there. And we're going to talk about rekindling your database. It's January. You should be thinking about going through that entire database, priming it, and preparing it for the holidays, right? So folks, I'm going to jump into this. If you have any questions, drop it in the chat. And Brian, if you'd be so gracious as to help me out with any questions people get dropped in there. Or Brian, you're the advocate for the audience here today. If you have a question, right, that you have a burning need for, throw it in there and we'll jump on it as we're doing the presentation. So let's jump into it. Oh, and also I have a free goodie, a freebie for folks that are joining us, that are watching this presentation and stick around all the way to the end. You get a chance to get a freebie at the very end. So I'll talk about that as we go along. So let's jump into it. Great. We're talking about ISAs. What is an ISA exactly? How can they help? We're talking about inside sales agent. These are also known as appointment setters, telemarketers. You know, I don't know if you've heard of anything else, Brian, but that's a really common ways people are referring to ISAs. It is a role within a real estate team that helps you make more calls, right? I like that definition. Very easy to understand, totally makes sense. And it's also the name, you know, the name of the game is overall right now, especially as the market is shifting, the name of the game is about having more real estate conversations every day. Whoever can focus on having more real estate conversations every day is going to win, even if the market is shifting, So ISA is one of the ways you can get in front of more people to have relevant real estate conversations every single day. And I like that phrase because it takes all of the, you know, the noise and the drama out of the discussion. What agents should be focused on, even if the market is shifting in your area, you should be focusing on having more real estate conversations every day, and your business is going to be fine. Okay. That's such an important phrase. Next, why should you get an ISA? Why? Number one reason is leverage, okay? Leveraged lead generation. ISA is one of the roles on the team that can help you do more lead generation without adding more hours into the day, right? You're able to do this at a high level with the help of an ISA. You can increase your production without working more and more hours. You can actually get your nights and weekends back, right? You can add specialization within your team. Someone on your team, it is their job to make those calls. And folks, individual agents, you know this, team leaders, you especially know this. It is very hard to get your team to make those calls, right? It's not easy. It's not getting easier. Agents are really good at making the first phone call to a brand new lead. Probably they are. Second, third, fourth, fifth call, it can be a challenge, right? Totally understand that. There's also the model of virtual ISAs, which is the one that I have the most experience with. And that is virtual ISA can be anywhere in the US, can be outside the US, can be in Mexico, Latin America, where I'm here right now. Also, it can be in Asia, Philippines, India. It can be a huge cost savings. It does come with its own kind of unique set of challenges, but it can have a really high ROI, okay? Awesome. That's what we mean by ISA. That's what ISA can do for you. But let's jump into the meat of it, right? What activities? Okay, great. I'm interested, Gus. ISA looks like a great opportunity. Awesome. But what activities can they do for me? How can we get more specific on it? Great. I'm glad you asked, because my number one recommendation, and this is true for most agents out there, the number one activity that your ISA should be doing right now is helping you convert your inbound internet leads at a much higher level, okay? That is the number one opportunity I see that ISAs can help most individual real estate agents and most teams, especially the teams, okay? Really important. So I want to lay the groundwork, set the table for this discussion. Internet leads are still a massive opportunity, folks. I think most teams, most agents haven't really scratched the surface when it comes to internet leads. For an example, Facebook leads for real estate, they're still costing $1 to $5 a piece, right? You can generate internet leads with these systems within 24 hours, right? They're awesome. They are one of the most efficient ways to reach a large amount of people that you don't know in your local area, okay? Internet leads are excellent at that. Very quick, very efficient way to reach a lot of people that you don't know. Even on social media platforms like Facebook, like Instagram, the ads that you run on these platforms are not for your friends and family, right? They're not for that. You can get to those folks organically without any cost, and you should do that, right? But the ads are for everyone else you don't know. The 99.9% of people in that area that don't know you, the internet is a very efficient way to reach them and to get them interested in what you have to offer, okay? But guess what? This coin has another side, okay? Internet leads are also a challenge, okay? They are a challenge. They are not easy to convert. They were not super easy to convert 5 years ago, and they have not gotten easier as time goes by. The number of internet leads generated goes up and up and up every single year, but the amount of transactions, last year actually went down, right? You had less transactions, but the amount of internet leads generated did not, right? So they are challenging to convert, okay? Many of these leads, especially the ones from Google, from Facebook, from Instagram, the majority of these leads are kind of the top or in the middle of the funnel, okay? What does that mean? They're not looking to go they're not in the transacting stage, right? They're not in the stage of the process where they're like, hey, show me a home because I want to go see it. They're not there you're not there as a waiter to take their order because they know exactly what they want. Most of these leads are in the middle or in the top of the funnel, so they require a different approach, a better approach. But the teams and the agents that are willing to learn and master that top and middle of funnel space are going to win, right? They're going to win big time because that's where most of the leads are. That's where most of the leads are generated. And that's where a big opportunity sits, okay? It can take multiple calls and texts to get them to even respond to you, okay? You're not even talking about having conversations yet. It can take multiple touches around multiple days, multiple weeks to get them to do a response. So to convert internet leads at a high level, and by high level, let me just set the expectations here. 1% all the way up to 3% is an excellent conversion rate for internet leads across 12 months. Okay, across 12 months. There is no easy button with internet leads. There is no kind of skipping the line and finding the magic sauce or the magic lead source. And, Brian, you guys talk to a lot of people, through the coaching space, through the show. I hate to break it to folks. There is no magic lead source, right? That can just help you jump ahead of this work. You got to put in the work. There is no magical solution that is going to go, oh, I want the leads that I buy from this company, right? And they're going to convert at 5, 8, 9, 10% consistently over the next 12 months, right? That's very different. Maybe there's a few in there, few and far between magical unicorn situations somewhere. The rest of us have to find and do the work to achieve that 1 to 3% conversion rate, which is excellent. That is an excellent conversion rate for these middle and top of funnel leads. If you can do the work, you can get those kind of results. And I've summarized it, folks, here for you, right? I've summarized it into 4 things you need to really convert these leads at a high level. Number 1 is speed to lead, okay? People kind of discard that one a lot of times. And I have empathy. I understand it. Because when you hear all this data and all this theory about calling leads within 5 minutes, I've seen the one where it says you should call them within 30 seconds. It's even better. Well, yeah, of course, I bet it's even better. But most agents and Brian, keep me honest here. Most agents will be successful if they call their leads within 24 hours, right? As if they would at least call them within the first 24 hours, they would see much better results than most agents get from internet leads. But this is still true though, right? What did you say, Brian?
Yeah, no. So, two things. First of all, absolutely. Speed to lead is still a very important thing. As a matter of fact, we had a question about that, so I wanted
Right.
to
Go for it.
throw that in there. So the question is, when he's talking about speed to lead, the person asking the Kirsten, I hope I pronounced that correctly. I apologize if I didn't. So they're saying most of your ISAs are working 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. So how does that help with speed to lead? Do you guys have a workaround for that? So I think it's a great question, and I'd love to hear what you got for us.
Absolutely, absolutely. So there's two options here, right? Number one is having someone in place 9 to 5. Okay, it's 9 to 5, 8 to 4, 10 to 6, whatever that happens to be. That's going to solve part of the problem. After hours, it's got a few options. Number one, you can funnel those calls to the rest of the team. ISA is the dedicated person that's their job to respond right away and follow up with these leads, but they don't work 24/7, right? And if you try to find someone that's going to work and respond to these leads, outside their shift 24/7, you're not going to have an ISA for very long, right? Because people want to have those kinds of boundaries. But as a team owner, as a team leader, as a rainmaker, every time you see a lead come in, obviously you're sweating, you're anxious, you're uncomfortable. Who is going to be calling my leads? What if I'm at dinner? What if I'm on an appointment? What if I'm doing a showing? What if it's Sunday? Sunday, after a lot of leads can come in over the weekend, right? Weekends during the day, weekends during night. You can do a pay-per-lead service, right? And Power ISA does this as well. Other companies do this. Some of these pay-per-lead services are going to cover you for the nights and the weekends. You can at least get that first response kind of an activity out there. But here's what most teams do, right? Most teams rely on two things. Number one, automation. You've got some automation at least responding to them, letting them know, hey, you got the inquiry. We're going to reach out to you as soon as we can, right? There's something there, or an AI chatbot that at least gets the conversation started, right? They're not going to, these bots and these autoresponders are not going to set appointments for you. They're at least going to acknowledge that you got that inquiry and you're going to be reaching out. And then the next best thing is reach out to those brand new leads that came in after hours and overnight, first thing in the morning. That is how, and there's other tools, magic tricks out there. Folks, the teams that are doing this at the highest level rely on the automation and calling everyone that came in at midnight and 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, they call them the next morning. That is how we do it, right? So speed to lead is great, but for practical reasons, you're not going to achieve it for 100% of your leads. That's fine, because the next point in my list here is where the magic happens, and that is with the follow-up, okay? And I've broken up follow-up into 2 points, but this is the first one. Follow-up, 15 to 16 touches within 30 days. This is for leads that have not responded to you, okay? These are for leads that have not texted you back, that have not called you back, they're not taking that call. You have to do this, right? And this doesn't happen within the first 5 minutes, okay? You're going to call them two to three touches the first day. It's not worth it to do more than that. You're just going to annoy people, right? You got to spread them out over a few different days, and you've got to diligently do these follow-up activities. That is where you're going to get the majority of the leads talking to you. Not everyone's going to respond right away on that instant response. That's fine. That's great. A lot of them do. 5% of them can do it. 10% of them can do it. 90 to 95% of everybody else is going to need more than one call, more than one text, okay? You got to make peace with that fact. This is where a lot of agents struggle, okay? Who wants to do the third call to that lead they didn't pick up yesterday, right? That's where the challenge is. The next thing you want to do, once you're implementing that follow-up plan, is once they actually pick up the phone, once they actually respond, what do you do then? Okay? Because yes, it's a challenge to get these leads to respond, but when they respond, you got to be ready for that, right? In some of our markets, 50% of leads are getting converted via text message. That doesn't mean you're going to set a bunch of appointments via text. That's not real, right? That's not, I think the best I've seen is maybe 20, 30% of appointments being set via text message. But the goal of that texting is to get them on the phone, right? You need a texting script as well. What are you going to say via text message to actually get them on the phone? What are you going to say when you're on that call, right? You've got to deliver that script, a solid script and solid objection handling to take that lead to the next level. And then last but not least, you need nurturing, okay? So you're always going to have two major buckets of your online leads. The ones you've actually spoken to or interacted with, okay? They know who you are, they know who Brian is, they know who Gus is, because we talked to them. And you're going to have the huge bucket of uncontacted leads. It's usually going to be your biggest pool of leads. That's normal. The pond, the swamp, whatever you're going to call that, right? The pond and the swamp, you don't have to follow up 15, 16 touches every month. You don't do that, right? You taper off and you follow up with them maybe once a month, maybe once a quarter, and that's fine for the uncontacted leads, okay? For the ones you've contacted, though, you have a qualification. You know who they are, and if you had a good conversation, you know what they're doing or have an idea of that, and you hopefully have an invitation to follow up with them. And that's also part of the job, to convert these leads at a high level. You cannot just rely on the ones that convert right away. There's not enough of them. You're not going to get the full ROI. You've got to follow up with these leads. That number, that 1 to 3% conversion rate, is over 12 months, okay? You're never going to get that conversion rate in a shorter time frame. And you're never going to get that conversion rate if someone is not following up and nurturing these contacted leads, okay? That's a big piece of it. That's what it takes. High level, I'm summarizing to a great deal here. High level, that's what you need, a system that implements this to get those higher than average conversion rates. Folks, most agents that try to convert internet leads, they don't get a 1 to 3% conversion rate. They get a 0 to a 1% conversion rate. And it's usually close. So Brian's laughing here. It's true. He's laughing because it's true, right? It's like we're giggling. This is reality, right? This is what, unfortunately, what most agents face when they're trying to convert internet leads. They usually get a 0 to a 1% conversion rate, mostly around the 0. They get very frustrated with the process and they want to give up right away. Oh, this is too hard. This is too difficult. No one's responsive. No one's picking up the phone. And when they pick up the phone, they don't want to work with me. That's a very common reaction to this because this is what it takes, okay? So I have some good news for you, is that an ISA can help you implement all 4 of these strategies, okay? An ISA can be part of this solution. Speed to response. During the time the ISA is on shift and helping you out, they can be available to drop everything and respond to those brand new leads, okay? But even more important, I would, this might be, I don't know if this is controversial or not, but I think the biggest help that a team needs is not typically that first call, okay? Teams are usually okay. They're not terrible at that first call, especially if they have like a Shark Tank style system where, it dials multiple people and then you're kind of competing for it. They're not that bad at that first call. It's everything else that comes after that that's challenging. So I'd say following up is probably the biggest role for an ISA to play in a team. They're calling those existing leads, right? It's no longer an issue. And for folks that have managed this problem, you know what I'm talking about. You don't have to get on the back of your agents and your team and everyone else to drag on them to call their leads, because it's their job. It's the ISA's job to call those leads, right? This is not like a problem for them. This is exactly what they do. This is what you hire them to do, okay? As far as scripting goes, your ISA specializes at this, right? This is what they have to do. A lot of agents, they struggle with scripts. They want to kind of wing it. They have such a big personality. They connect with people and they kind of put the scripts to the side. ISAs, this is 100% of what they do. They deliver a script and they handle people's objections. So they're able to specialize on that, right? And deliver it to a larger amount of people. And last but not least, that nurturing. Your ISA can help stay in touch with folks until it's time to hand off to the agent. When is that handoff happening? That is a matter of some debate. The model that I like and that I've seen have the most success is the lead should be handed off from the ISA to an agent when they have, number one, when they have a question that only an agent can answer, or that they're the most qualified to answer. Anytime they have a specific need that you would only have if you're thinking about becoming a transactor. You're going from being a planner or a dreamer into the transactor phase. When you're transitioning, when you're having questions about that, that is when they should be handed off to the agent. And it's not going to be when they're going to go see homes. In my mind, the buyer's agent, the real estate agent is not an order taker, right? They're not someone that only gets involved when the person has a specific, I want a 2-bedroom, 3-bath home. I want to go see this property. Okay. I think that's already too late. Why? Because you're competing with everyone at that point. You're competing with Zillow agents and Opcity agents and, everyone else. When the lead is at that stage, you want to get to them before then, right? That's why the nurturing process is so important. And then ISA should hand it off, not when they're transacting. They should hand it off 90 days before that, before they're a transactor. So the agents in this model, the agents become experts at taking the ball from the 30-yard line to the end zone, okay? Because if we rely on having, your Hall of Fame quarterback dropping bombs into the end zone, if that's your whole battle, your whole game plan, you're not going to get very far. It's very predictable, right? You gotta learn to take it from the 30-yard line to the end zone. If you can become a master at that, then you're going to be very successful with these leads. If you're relying on an ISA that just said, come make an offer for me, appointments, then you're going to get a very, very low conversion rate, and other agents are going to take those opportunities from you. Okay. So that's my thoughts on the handoff process. And let me just say there's some debate about that on where that should be, but I've seen that model work very, very well. Okay, so let's get into the nitty gritty. Typical activities of an ISA that's doing this role. It's helping with those inbound leads. Number one priority for them is calling new inbound leads. Okay, that's the number one thing. And this can happen throughout the day. And it also, I mentioned this in the question we talked about, you should also be looking at those leads that came outside of the shift or that came in overnight, right? First thing in the morning, reach out to those folks and start the conversion process, okay? Another one, responding to those text messages, right? A lot of leads are much more comfortable responding through text. That's fine, that's great. But the ISA should engage with those with the goal of getting them on the phone, okay? And I'm not gonna say that people prefer the phone. This is 2023, right? We all know there's a lot of folks would prefer text message. That's fine, that's great. But the text should be with the objective of eventually getting them on the phone, either to clarify any of their questions, to clarify anything that they need. You should find ways, and this should be intentional, right? It shouldn't be an accident. There's specific cues that you can give a lead over texting that can help you get on the phone faster. And that's what your ISA should be doing, right? They should be responding to text messages on demand all day, every day, with the goal of getting them on the phone, okay? Another set of activities, priority number 3, is calling your daily active leads, okay? What does that mean? If you've got leads in your database that have been there for a year, or 2 years, or 3 years, and they're active in your CRM, your ISA should call them, right? Should offer some help, be a resource to them, see if they have any questions, right? That's something important. If your CRM is automatically sending, a lot of CRMs do this nowadays, they automatically send new listings. They automatically send listings that they might like, that match individual listings that they might like to match their criteria. That's a great phone call to make. Hey, what do you think of that listing we sent you, right? Because if they clicked on that link and saw that listing on your website, your CRM is telling you that. Your ISA should take that information and use it. Reach out to those leads, be a resource to them, see if they need any help, okay? They should be making, like I mentioned, follow-up calls to the leads that are coming in, new leads that are uncontacted. They should be making nurture calls to the contacted leads. And no, these don't happen every week, okay? I was just, hearing this from another person that I love a lot, Robbie T out of the Hatch Group. He's saying that one of the biggest problems sometimes with these internet leads is people over follow up. They follow up a little bit too much, right? If a lead communicated with you and they are 6 months out from making a decision, from starting their process, because they're going to relocating, they're retiring, if they're giving you a valid reason, a real reason that they need to wait, then you should target a follow-up with them maybe 90 days before that target date, right? You don't have to follow up with a 6-month nurture every week. That is overkill. You're going to get ghosted. You're going to get ignored. And people are just not going to be responsive to you anymore, right? So over following up could be an issue, but nurturing these leads, these contacted leads, is also important and should be on the list of your ISAs. Your ISA should also be confirming appointments, okay? You've got appointments on your schedule for that day. They should be calling and making sure those folks are going to attend. They should be using what I like to call a guilty confirmation script. Guilty confirmation script, like, hey, Brian, it's Gus, with ABC Realty. Just want to call and make sure that you're going to be on the call today. I know that, my agent has been preparing all weekend for this. He's got all the information ready to go. You're going to be able to make it, right? And you're going to be in front of a computer, right? That's great. Talk to you later today, right? So you're kind of guilting them into making sure they don't forget, number one, and that they know it's going to be a valuable call because the agent has been preparing for this, okay? It's a great script for appointment confirmation. And they should also be calling appointments from yesterday, that the appointment happened or not, right? Folks, this is normal. If you're talking, I'm going to grab Facebook as an example, but if you can get 50% of your inbound Facebook leads to attend their appointments, that is an excellent job, okay? That is a good job. That is a great attendance rate for leads that are top of the funnel or middle of the funnel, okay? So to achieve a 50% attendance rate on those leads, you got to be confirming those appointments. The texting's not good enough. The Calendly text is not good enough, right? A phone call from a real person setting the expectation for that appointment is going to help you get to that 50% or beyond, right? Some teams do even better than that, but 50% is a good conversion rate to attended appointment, okay? And then last but not least, your ISA should be calling the pond, okay? Or the uncontacted leads. And for some teams, these are hundreds of leads. For some teams, these are thousands of leads. These are usually the biggest, by far, the biggest pool of leads that a team has. The uncontacted leads or leads that have become ghosted and are unresponsive, right? This is usually the biggest pool. And it's like anything. You got to eat the elephant bite by bite. Your ISA should be helping you bite and eat that elephant little by working these leads, okay? So what should you expect, the kind of results you can get? When you're calling back, you can get a 10% conversion rate to appointment from Facebook leads. You're never going to get that conversion rate unless you're implementing a 15 to 16 touch plan within 30 days. You should also have a follow-up plan that can get you 1 to 3% conversion rate to closed transactions in the next 12 months. That is very achievable. You also can get your time back and you lose that anxiety, right, of who is calling and following up with your leads at a high level. Great. So real quick, and we got some great examples here of ISAs that have implemented for inbound leads, right? This is our good friend Sunit, a moderator here in LCA. Was able to get great results when he started with an ISA, right? This is years ago. Now he has a team, I think he has a team of like 20 ISAs now. When we started with one, he got a really, really great results because he was generating a bunch of online leads. He had a lot of online leads, but he was not satisfied with the amount of deals he was getting from them. And ISA really helped him do that. This is another one of our clients, O'Neill Days. He had a lot, this is specifically from Facebook. He had a ton of leads coming in from Facebook. But for him, no one was calling them, okay? No one was calling them. He got an ISA full-time calling his leads. They were setting 5 appointments a day, right? So yeah, magical things happen when you actually call those leads. So I got more examples, but I got to run because we're almost out of time here, but I want to get through this presentation. Number 2 opportunity is cold prospecting with your ISA, okay? Cold prospecting. So when we're talking about getting real estate conversations, cold prospecting is a very low cost, efficient way to get conversations with confirmed homeowners, okay? Verified homeowners. It is a very low cost. Paid ads can be very efficient. They can also be very high cost. Cold prospecting is probably the most cost-effective way out there to talk to as many confirmed homeowners as possible, okay? And I'm going to give you a sliding scale. There's different levels of cold prospecting. I would say, in my opinion, probably one of the most challenging is the for sale by owner, right? Because number one, they don't want any agents calling them. Like never. And no agents call me. Oh my God, I can do this on my own. That is one level of difficulty. I would put the expired listing below that because a lot of these expired listing folks actually want to talk to an agent. They're confused. They're shell-shocked. They don't even know why their home didn't sell. They're frustrated and they need help from someone, right? Below those lead sources, there's others, right? And I've heard these called like bullseye lists. People that aren't expired, aren't FSBO, they're not actively looking for an agent, but there's something about them that might make them much more likely to sell a home in the next 6 to 12 months. And I'm talking about absentee owners for rent by owners. I would say downsizers also fit this category, folks that are 65 and above and that have, 2-story, 3-bedroom house, right? That's another kind of a targeted bullseye list. Probates are another kind of list like that. They've had someone pass away, they're going through the probate process, and they might need some help, right? Getting, deciding what to do with a property. And then at the very bottom of this scale of difficulty, I would put circle prospecting, okay? Good old tried and true circle prospecting, which means dropping a pin on the map and calling everyone in a 1-mile radius or a 2-mile radius to either tell them about a listing you just put up there, a listing you just sold, or just the fact that you're working with multiple buyers and you're looking for more sellers for your buyers, right? That's what I would probably put on a sliding scale of difficulty with regards to cold prospecting. And this is just in general. There's nothing to do with ISA yet, right? This is in general, the different skill level that you need to call each one of these lists, all right? Great. So when you're talking about cold prospecting, the tools that you use matter a lot, okay? The tools that you use. Because the number one issue right now, 2023 with cold prospecting is the low contact rate, right? It's getting harder and harder to get these folks on the phone, right? Using the right tools, the goal is to talk to 10 to 11 people an hour. That is a good conversion rate. The highest I've seen it get with the right tools is about 30 people per hour, right? That's probably the highest you're gonna get with a high quality list and a good dialing system on the back end, okay? This is a great example of adding leverage to your business. If you've done any work with cold prospecting, the biggest challenge agents face is that as soon as they get busy, their calling time is gonna struggle. Their calling time is gonna suffer, okay? And let's be honest, I have yet to find an agent that loves cold calling, okay? They don't love it. As soon as they get busy, they wanna do less of it. But here's the challenge, and you know what I'm talking about. As soon as you stop doing these lead generation activities, a month or two down the line, you're back to square one. Your pipeline is dry. You got to go back on the horse, and you're in that roller coaster of income, okay? So this is how an ISA can help. An ISA is never going to eliminate your need to do cold calling, okay? But the model that I like for ISAs is that you can get more results faster and you can leverage that time. So instead of you doing 2 to 3 hours of calling, a full-time ISA can do a full 8-hour shift of calling, doing circle prospecting, calling new expireds that day, et cetera, et cetera. You can get more results faster by implementing cold calling together with an ISA, Why do I say together? Because I want to set clear expectations here, okay? To have any chance of success, cold calling with an ISA, you need to have done cold calling first, folks. I see a lot of agents that want to try cold calling and kind of assume they can hand off the whole process 100% to their ISA. I have never seen that work. And now, again, me, Gus, 1,300 clients in the last 5 years, okay? So if this could be done somehow, I would have figured it out by now. It just cannot be done. You need to know. So there's 2 problems with that. Number one, you can be the blind leading the blind in this situation, okay? If you've never done cold calling, how are you going to know if your ISA is doing a good job or a bad job, okay? You have to know how to convert these leads first, okay? How to convert a cold prospect, and it doesn't matter if it's expired FSBO or circle prospect, doesn't matter. Cold prospect, how to get them from inquiry into listing appointment into closed transaction. Once you've got a model, then you can add leverage to it, okay? If you know how to take someone from cold prospect to closing, that's when you want to add an ISA. The model that I like the most right now is what I call shaking the tree, okay? What I mean by shaking the tree is that an ISA should be calling, whether it's FSBO, expired, or circle prospecting. The goal of the ISA is actually not to set the appointment right away, okay? It is very challenging to set appointments from cold leads. It's very hard to do, even for experienced agents. It's hard to do. What the ISA should be doing is calling the expired and the FSBO or the circle prospecting lead and asking them if it is if they're at the stage where they should be talking to an agent, asking them that question, right? And the script is different for each one of those cases, but the bottom line is this: the ISA should be asking that FSBO, are they ready to talk to an agent yet, right? Could a more aggressive and effective marketing plan help them get their home sold? Do they want to hear what Brian has to say to get their home sold? Are they ready for that conversation, yes or no? And it's a really simple question for that seller to answer. Very simple. And some of them are going to say no, but guess what? Some of them are going to say yes as well. And your ISA can add leverage by calling 50, 100 of these sellers a day to get you 1 to 2 qualified sellers every single day that are willing to take that call from you, okay? This is the model I have seen be the most successful for cold calling with an ISA, not setting the expectation that your ISA is going to set a bunch of listing appointments for you, that you're going to show up and list the property. That is a very unrealistic expectation. The more effective use of an ISA is making the 200 calls you have to make to get that one motivated, qualified seller that's willing to take your call. That is a much more effective model, okay? And then the problem becomes, it reduces itself also, like I mentioned before, contact rate. How can I get my ISA having as many conversations as possible? But there's technology, there's tools, and there's solutions to that. But if you've got the right model, you can be successful. Here's some quick examples. This is Prashant out of Austin, Texas. He's an investor, flipper, a long-term investor, a short-term investor, and he had a lot of lists. He had a lot of these bullseye targeted lists. We helped him get the right ISA on his team. He had struggled with this, right? It's not easy to find a good ISA. He got the right ISA, and within 4 months, he had closed 23 transactions. Closed 23 deals as an investor, okay? So I'm not going to say these are like beginning to end, 90-day transactions. Some of them were wholesale transactions. Some of them were for flips, right? Fix and flips for himself. So 23 transactions by getting the right person, talking to these sellers. And for investors, it's even harder. They have to qualify the property and they have to qualify the seller, okay? But it's just asking the right question. Hey, Mr. Seller, do you want to sell? Yes. Are you willing to accept an offer in this range? Yes or no? And if the person said yes, then they got to talk to Prashant and he would take him to the finish line. So the ISA saved them a ton of time. And we've talked about Calvin here in LCA, right? 23 FSBO transactions in 1 year with the help of an ISA. All the ISA did was call every single FSBO in Chattanooga every week between Monday and Tuesday, asking the same question, folks. Mr. FSBO seller, I'm calling on behalf of Calvin. We want to help you get your home sold. Are you ready to hear how we can get your home sold faster and for this amount of money, right? Whatever it was. Are you ready to hear that pitch? Yes or no? Okay, yes, great. Then the ISA would hand it off to the team. That was a great way to do that. Here's another example, John D. Smith. He's been, I don't forget if he's been on LCA or not, but great result for him. He's cold calling every single day. He's never stopped cold calling, but he realized an ISA can get him to call even more people every single day, right? So he got 2 listings and 14 motivated sellers in his first month and a half with an ISA. So great story there, right? So we got about 1 minute left. So I'm going to speed through this last part, right? Which is the easiest one, database rekindling with your ISA. And your database is your business, folks, okay? And this time of year, January, someone should be calling every single lead in your database because a properly marketed database can yield 10% referrals every single year for people that already know, like, and trust you. But even your old unmet leads, you should be calling them as well, those old internet leads, and just asking a simple question. I got a script here, right? For old internet leads, hey, you were looking a few months ago. I just want to find out if you've bought a home yet, or if you have any plans to do that this year, right? Very simple question. And for your database, for your Met database, You should be calling, your ISA can call them to invite them to your next event, your next giveaway, your next freebie, and also ask them if they or anyone they know have any plans for real estate for the next year, because we'd love to help. Okay. Really, really, really simple. And even calling internet leads. So our own Tristan Ahumada. Tristan has an ISA that we help him get, and their sole purpose in life is calling their old internet leads. Again, Tristan has a massive team, many ISAs, many people. One of his ISAs, all they do is call their old internet leads. And he's been able to get over 100,000 in commissions a year just by making sure that he doesn't let his internet leads go stale. And Rudy and Shanon out of Seattle, I love this story. They had a massive Met database that they had never called diligently. They started calling it. They got 55 listing appointments within 60 days. So I'm going to say the number again, 55 appointments, listing appointments within 60 days, because they actually called their massive Met database. So big opportunity there. All right. So folks, before we finish up, I mentioned we get a freebie at the end, special offer for people that made it all the way here to this presentation. If you want to get 3 free scripts for each one of these scenarios, the inbound buyer internet script, you can get that for sell by owner, outbound or circle prospecting script. You can get the rekindling script that you or your ISA can implement. Just send an email to info@powerisa.com. But this time I want to, because I got a bunch of emails. I'm still getting emails from last webinar I did in December. And I don't always get back to those. Our team can kind of struggle with those. But to build in some automation for this, make sure you put in the subject 3 ways ISA, right? Just make sure you put that phrase, 3 ways ISA, just like you're seeing it on the screen. Put it in the subject, somewhere in the subject, and we will respond automatically and send over those scripts to you, okay? So you'll get an email response with those 3 scripts. Give us 24 hours to make sure this is set up and working. But by the time you see this on YouTube and everywhere else, you should be fine. And definitely, take advantage of this. Thank you so much for showing up today. And also, we said on the chat right now, we have a special deal for Build Your ISA 2.0. This is only going to be for the folks that were watching this live or watching the replay early on. You get an exclusive deal just for this week to get 2022 pricing for our brand new service, Build Your ISA 2.0. Take advantage of that. And that is it, folks. That's what we got for today. Thank you so much for jumping in.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. Just to recap, we got 2 special offers. We've got the offer to lock in 2022 pricing, and then also that the 3 ways ISA, which will give you some great strips that Gus has used with his ISAs, and they've got proven success. So these aren't things that he's beta testing. These are proven successful models. So, and as always, this is a great webinar, and it is going to be uploaded here within 24 hours to our YouTube channel, so you'll be able to watch it again. And Gus, as always, appreciate all the great information you had to share, and thanks everybody, LCA, who's watching and is going to watch on the replay. So you all have a great day, rest of your week, and can't wait to see you all again. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Thanks, everybody.